What's up, metalheads? I am here with the Glam Reaper, and we're at episode 7, top 10 best albums of 2023, and our top 5 black metal albums right after this.
Welcome, headbangers, to the Metal Block. Here is your host, Eric.
Yeah, and if I could get her to sign a contract, a future co-host, the Glam Reaper.
Hello.
Andrea, no Glam Reaper. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How's yourself?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm surviving the Oregon heat. Is it hot where you're at?
It's a little warm here in the Midwest, but now that I've got good air conditioning, we're sweaters in here. So yes.
Yeah. Bipolar weather over here, man. It's like one day it's really breezy and rainy. Next it's super hot, 95 degrees right now, but it feels like 105. It's bullshit.
Oh, you can keep it.
Yeah. I was wearing full-on corpse paint, but now it's all melted off, as you can see.
Yeah, well, that's one thing about being goth in the summer is you have a limited amount of time before you start looking dead. And not the cool way either.
Yeah. Somebody sent me a meme of saying like reason why goths love summer because it's you suffer through the heat, but it's because you're goth, you're suffering anyway or something. I probably just butchered that meme, but
just constant sad man.
Yeah. Well, we're here. It's 2023. There's been some good albums released so far, especially in the black metal world, and in the regular metal. This is a metal show. I do have other releases from like Depeche Mode and things like that, but we're gonna put them on a different type of show. But every year I do the top 20 because at the end of the year I always do my top 20, but I like to do halfway through. I like to see, okay, so far what's been, released and what is good now so far. Like, where does it rank now? Because then by the time I get to the end of the year, like what was number 1 in the top 10 might fall because of, we got new stuff still coming. Like we got Crypta releasing a new album soon. We got KK's Priest. That new song that they released is really good. Yeah. What are you listening to these days, Andrea?
Oh, when people ask me that, I kind of gasp because I'm still stuck on the same songs I've been listening to for the last 20 years now.
Yeah.
But I branched out to some newer stuff. Maybe in the last couple years, in the last couple maybe months now, I've been listening to a lot of October Noir. They're an incredible band out of Florida.
Oh, cool.
So if you like Type O, that's a good one. And then I became kind of good buddies with the guys from Sister Kill Cycle, so I dig a lot of their music. So I'm listening to that. My friends from Darling Dead.
Oh yeah, had them on last episode. Darling Dead, yeah, good friends of mine.
Yeah, I didn't miss that. That was fun.
Yeah. I mean, me and those guys go way back in on the Hollywood days. My old band Will-O-Wisp and Darling Dead used to play a lot of shows together. And I was telling Brandy, I don't remember if me and you ever hung out, but I know me and Johnny were like, like this, always doing crazy.
You could see it in the video. It was so cute. Just you guys, the interactions back and forth, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, it was like old friends, reuniting and talking about the old days of Hollywood and licking our battle wounds and all that good stuff.
You probably had plenty.
Oh yeah. Especially Johnny, man. I was hoping he'd share some crazy stories. Next time, Johnny, I'm gonna get you, man. If you're watching this, you're gonna tell some of those stories. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, you know what? I want to ask you some questions just so everyone get to know the Glam Reaper. All right. Where are you from? Where are you at? If you don't want to tell your exact location, that's okay too.
Yeah. Well, I'm out of Hillsboro, Illinois now, so we've got the Hillsboro thing in common.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like,
I grew up in most of the South as a little girl, but I was mainly brought up in Southern Illinois with my grandparents. Okay. I moved here, I want to say almost 2 decades ago now. Yeah. But I like it here. It's pretty quiet, but the only downside is I'm the only one like me here, and the metal scene, goth scene, all of that is way away.
Yeah. So it's very small there as far as like the scene. There's like, is there any like bands that play locally at all that
None that would probably make your list. This is a very, very rural hillbilly town.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I come from a town like that, yeah. So I relate.
Yeah, the people here are good to me. I'm not a sideshow too often, but yeah. So that's always nice. People are always genuinely nice to me here.
That's good. Would you say the population would be like over 10,000 or?
No, not even. It's
Really?
barely pushing 5. I would say, honestly.
Wow, because I used to live in a town. Well, I kind of grew up in a town called Atwater, California, and that was like about 20,000 people. But then there was Winton, which was right next door, and that was like 5,000 people. Like and that's where I kind of grew up in. Well,
Yeah.
in the city, but you go through it. You're there.
It's itty bitty teeny tiny place.
We love the small towns over there because like. When we moved to Hollywood and we didn't make it famous or anything, but we did like the whiskey and stuff like that. But you'd go back home and like all your friends would be like, damn, dude, you made it big. Can I borrow?
Yeah. You get all the fanfare and all the cool signs and all the girls that never talked to you in high school are all of a sudden fans. Yeah.
And now I got my music on iTunes and Spotify. I always say like, everybody and their grandma and their pets could be on iTunes and Spotify. But then I still got those friends back home that say, dude, you made it big time, man. Can I borrow $100? I'm like, dude. If you knew what I get paid for streaming, I got paid $100 in 4 years.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly. Music business is shit. It's just fun.
It's not what you're thinking. Trust me.
Right. Now you have an interesting career that kind of fits in with your image and the music you like. What is that?
I am a full-time mortician.
Oh wow. Okay. I did see I did saw that on your Facebook. You were called Lady Mortician. That's why when I was asking you, like, oh, do you go by a stage name? And I kind of thought that was your stage name. But
no, that I created a Facebook page so I could talk about my job a little more with where I'm not scaring people, on my on my normal profile, and it really took off pretty well. People are always asking really interesting questions. I don't really have. I think people are more open to it now because I used to just not. For the longest time, nobody knew what I did, and I was really reluctant to talk about it because I had some people in the past just be really awful about it. So I was just like, and then someone asked me, "So what do you do?" And I'm like, "I'm just gonna bite the bullet and tell them."
Yeah, it's a dead-end job, but somebody's got to do it.
And my day starts when theirs ends, and that's probably the best way to do it.
Like that slogan.
Yeah.
Let me. I have one question. Like, I have a friend that's a mortician as well. Like way back, but I haven't talked to him in years. But I always wanted to ask, like, how do you even get into the mindset of when you first start doing it? Like, because what is it? Because there's something about dead people that freak live people out. Like if you see a dead body, but like you, obviously that's your job is you have to actually, handle the bodies and put the makeup on, do the embalming. Like, how do you even get it? How did you even first start doing it? Like as far as getting into that mindset?
Well, I actually got my job by sheer luck. There was an open house on Halloween night in town at the local funeral parlor. So I went. Of course I went. And I started chatting up the owner and his son, who was his assistant funeral director at the time. It's a family-owned place. It's very small. And they got a kick out of me because I knew a lot about their job, and I knew a lot of stuff that most of the public isn't privy to, and they were really needing some help. And I didn't go to any schooling or anything, so I kind of figured I'm just going to be that one weird girl that hangs out every once in a while, most likely. But no, the next day, his son actually got a hold of me, my boss, Shane, and said, we could really use help here. And normally we really want people who went through mortuary school and did the whole 9 yards, but we're really hurting for it. And you seem to be really interested. Would you like to come work for us?
Wow. Like not even like an internship first or anything?
Exactly. He said, I can apprentice you and get you going. I think it took me a full month, like just about a month. And I had everything down and I was doing things on my own.
I'm curious, like, how do you practice? Like, do you actually practice on a real dead body, or how does that work?
Not allowed to practice on the dead. When I first started, I basically had to just watch and take notes and just I was the phone jockey for the longest time, and then I would clean up after him. But mainly, I spent about a month straight watching him closely, watching what he did, watching how he did it, why he did the things he did. And then one day he said, now it's your turn, and turned me loose. And I was able to do my first full embalming on my own. And it only took 7.5 hours.
Yeah. Is that not considered good? 7.5 hours, or that?
It's considered pretty slow. Most morticians will knock a body out between 4 and 6 hours if it's just a minimal, trauma body. Because most bodies come in with a bit of trauma if they've been around a while. I think my longest one took me nearly 12 hours.
Oh, wow.
And it was serious bodily trauma because I'm basically having to rebuild faces, chest cavities, because you can't embalm with open wounds. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm down. I would imagine, and that's why I'm wondering about the mindset, because I would imagine you see all different types of deaths, someone with a gunshot or hit by a car or natural death. And how does that affect you emotionally? Do you bring that home with you at first? Or do you just kind of get used to it?
That's a tough one to really pinpoint, because I think it does differ between the individuals. But for me, it does affect me, because there's been times I've gone home and just straight into a pillow crying. But normally I don't try to think of it as, it's this horrible thing. I think of it as my job first.
Yeah.
And then after, I can kind of hash that out in my head of, what I just seen, what I've just dealt with. Other than that, I really don't. Dead bodies don't bother me. I'm not skittish about it. I'm more squeamish being on camera, to be fair with you.
Well, you're doing fine.
So this is the scary thing. Bodies are not scary. They're not going to do anything, except for the one time I got bit by a dead lady.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Do they really actually come alive a little bit after, when you're?
They don't. Not really. This was. You always hear about them shooting straight up and doing things. The only way that's going to happen is if you physically press the body.
Okay. Yeah.
I got bit because I was suturing a jaw closed the old school way with a suture thread and a needle. And when I went to pull it up, I was holding the jaw so that I could have it perfectly placed so the jaw's not askew and set wrong. And when I pulled, my thumb got stuck.
Oh, wow. Damn.
My boss had to rescue me.
She's like, you get rabies and shit.
Yeah, it was just like, and I'm like,
damn.
It's just one of those, you got to learn. And I'm like, I learned.
So before you embalm them, do you have to take all their insides out and stuff? Or how does that?
No, you don't remove any organs at all unless they're organ donors. And then the coroner does that. I would not do that. You have to have a medical license. Embalmings are pretty straightforward. I make sure that there's no obvious open gaping wounds that are going to leak embalming fluid, because that's dangerous. Basically an embalming is you stick the ports into the arteries, and then it flushes the blood out as it's putting the chemicals in. But it is a 2-step process. You do arterial and then a cavity. Body cavity takes a huge long needle type thing called a trocar. And that's basically this 1.5-inch long tube, like a hypodermic needle, that goes in just above the belly button into the abdominal cavity and fills it with embalming fluid.
Wow, yeah.
So it does the same thing. It pulls the crap out and puts crap in.
Wow. I always wonder what's the point of embalming if you're just going to put them in the ground anyway, or is that just to preserve the body while it's being viewed?
There's actually a history behind embalming in the U.S. It really kicked off during the Civil War because bodies were decaying at a rapid rate. They weren't being able to be stored because obviously there's a war going on. No one's going to let the defeated side use their butcher houses in ice rooms. So embalming became a true art form to help preserve bodies that needed to be transported long distance. That really took off, like I said, during the Civil War because it was a necessity. The tradition of embalming has stayed for the last 100 or so years in the U.S. because it became a tradition. It's not, you don't legally have to have a body embalmed to be buried, but it's one of those things that became a tradition, and most people will go for it because it's just what you do. You go through the motions, you do it.
Yeah. So I'd have a choice, and if I say I don't want to be embalmed when I die, or I can put that choice down.
You do not have to be embalmed. If you want to be buried naturally, all you have to do is put it in writing that I do not want embalmed. I do not want to be cremated. I do not want any of this nonsense. It isn't necessary.
I would think nowadays with everyone's so anti-chemicals and anti-this and anti-that, they probably more people don't want to have the embalmment because they, afraid of like chemicals and.
Well, it's a very serious thing. Every one of the chemicals I use to embalm will kill you.
Oh yeah, that's what I hear. Like it's very poisonous, huh?
Yeah. It is, and it's horrible for the environment, especially if bodies aren't dealt with properly and they're not buried properly, which means you've got to have a vault in there. You have to make sure things are lined. You can't just throw an embalmed body in the ground. It's going to decompose eventually, and embalming is not forever.
Wow. Yeah. I wonder if do you have to because me as an alcohol and drug counselor, I have to abide by HIPAA, which is like the Health Privacy Act or whatever. Yes. You have to do that. In other words, you can't just say hey, I worked on John Smith today and he had a small penis. I would
lose my job very quickly. It's on the same thing. It's more of an honor system. These families and people are trusting me with this information about their loved ones. Yeah. And for me to go and talk some smack about a dead guy, obviously that's not okay for one. And for two, these are grieving families who have just lost someone they care about. They're dealing with something that's incredibly traumatic and incredibly expensive because dying is already going to cost you a fortune.
Exactly.
So, I just, my rule of thumb, I don't talk about people by name at all. Yeah. If I have a case that's kind of tough and I need to talk about it, I'll just say the embalming today was difficult or the funeral today was a little trying. I don't throw the information out.
Yeah. So you have to put down, you have to do progress notes or whatever too, right? Like you have to take down notes and stuff.
I take down the second round of notes. If the coroner misses something, it is my job to write down that I found something else.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously I'm not a medical examiner. I'm not the coroner. They do a pretty thorough job on this stuff. But if I catch something, it is my job to write it down and put it out there before I do anything else, which means that stops an embalming, a burial, everything until it gets seen by the professionals themselves.
Oh, well, you definitely got an interesting job. Not only that, you have a very, you're needed. You got a kind of job of people that we need you, and it's
unfortunately, it is a very unsung job. It's one of those things that people don't really think about. People don't think about the funeral director or the attendees that are paid, through the state sometimes to help monitor and control funeral crowds, which you wouldn't think you would need. Yes, you do.
Yeah. And you being in a small town, I imagine, and I hate to kind of think about this, but maybe a body might have came through of someone you've known, maybe.
A few so far, yes. But I haven't lived here my entire life, so it's more like passing acquaintances, like faces I'd see on a daily basis. Yeah. And it isn't an aging town. It's more, families and their grandparents here.
Yeah.
So it is inevitable that I will probably help bury most of the population here.
Yeah. Is there any gang stuff around there in Hillsborough?
Only the raccoons, man.
Just too small for so those raccoon gangs. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, the raccoons and maybe some of the little hoodwinks from the high school every once in a while, but that's nothing I can't handle.
Yeah. So it's very rare you see gunshot victims coming through there.
Hunting accidents, farming implement accidents, drunk drivers, sadly.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
I actually had a weird case not too long back where about 4 adults poisoned themselves with random things that you definitely wouldn't want.
Really?
Yeah. Damn, 4 people came in with either oleander poisoning or belladonna poisoning, nightshade.
Wow.
How? Why? I don't know.
Did they say so they didn't say how or to invest? You didn't get to see the.
It was just on their toxicology report that I was going through, and the first one I saw was a 20-year-old woman, and she had died from oleander ingestion, and I was like,
yeah,
why?
Wow. You have a theory about it? I wonder if it
well, the only thing I know is that was on the toxicology thing, and they didn't really share other than accidental. Nobody accidentally eats or does any of these things. I think they tried to smoke it and they died.
Oh wow. That's like my song Belladonna. It's about the nightshade flowers. That would have been
the nightshade berries. You can eat one and be okay. You might get an upset stomach. Your vision's going to get all crazy because it will make you hallucinate. If you eat 10, you're dead.
Wow.
You will it will drop a full grown man in less than an hour. You can be safe from it, but 9 times out of 10, by the time you realize you're dying, it's probably too late.
Damn, it's crazy.
It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Stop eating things. Stop it.
Yeah. We could do a whole show on this, man, on this topic, right?
Yeah, probably.
That's what I have to do. That'll be the next episode.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, it's gothic, man. Gothic. It's metal. Again, it's like you said, it's an unsung career that you do.
Yeah. I always try to give shout outs to my other fellow embalmers, especially because we're always getting knocked at by all the people going, you should do it natural. It's an art form. Get over it. And I'm good at what I do.
Yeah. If you want to give them a shout out, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I don't know a lot of them actually by name. It's just like passing acquaintances I see actually online because it's just me and like the people on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, how's the home life? I think you say you're a mom, right?
I am. I have 2 kids. I have a 13-year-old son and I have a 3-year-old little girl.
Who are they? Let's give them a shout out.
Well, my 13-year-old, his name is Drake, and he's about the most chill little guy you'll ever meet. He's super friendly. He's intelligent. So proud of him. My daughter's a Spitfire. She's 3. Her name's Della, and she won't let you forget it.
Yeah. Nice. What do they think about mommy's job?
They like to tell people about it a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, if we're out shopping or mom's talking to someone on the street, they'll roll the window down sometimes and be like, my mom takes care of the dead people.
Oh, cool. Do we see future little embalmers there in the future for them or no?
I actually have great photos of them playing funeral parlor.
Oh, yeah?
So possibly.
Yeah, so it's possible. Hey, but they can't have a better teacher than their mom, like to teach them the way when they do get to that point.
Oh no, I don't hide anything from them. If they have a question, I answer it. And I've always been that way with them. I don't try to sugarcoat things and hide it because life is not going to do that.
Exactly. It's better to get it from you than to get it from some outside source and not understand it,
Or get the fake info.
Get the fake info, yeah. That happens too much with kids and shit. So
yeah, well, they're very impersonable. They take everything I do and they watch everything I'm doing, what I'm saying, which is why they're both into the same music I listen to, the bands I love, they now love.
Yeah,
and it's so weird for me to listen to stuff that my older cousins listen to, or my dad listened to, and then they're listening to the same stuff, and I'm like, so that's what that feels like.
Yeah. That brings me to the question of who would you say is like your all-time favorite band or artist? You have like a band, like mine is Iron Maiden. Like I'm an Iron Maiden fanatic. I love everything they do, and they can never do me wrong, no matter how many bad albums they put out. If they do put out any bad albums, but what about you? Do you have like a band or a certain band that like a go-to?
I actually do, and it might surprise some people, and it might not surprise anybody. But a band that I come back to all the time, and I just kind of base a lot of my realizations on, is actually the band Him, the Finnish love metal band. When I was 15, that was really what got me into the more goth genre of rock. It's more goth rock. It's not really goth per se.
Yeah, we consider it.
They're more melodic, they're just pretty metal sounds, and just Ville Valo's voice in general is beautiful.
Yeah.
So Him would have to be my number one.
Yeah, because I haven't listened to him in a long time, but I remember, I was hooked on their albums for a long time. I mean, he's just that's why I'm a big fan of melody. Anybody who's got some good melodies and a good sultry voice, that's him.
Yeah.
And I need to go back and listen to get some of their more later stuff. And I think he's got solo stuff now, right? I think
he does. Villa put out a single recently, and it was a lovely song, beautiful video.
Yeah.
He's done a lot to kind of separate himself from Him, not because he has to, but just kind of set himself as a solo artist now. Some of my favorite works are his older albums, like Razor Blade Romance.
Yeah,
that was the first one I ever heard. Then Love Metal, and then everyone's favorite Dark Light came out. But then there's the ones that a lot of people don't know about, like Greatest Love Songs Volume 666, one of my favorites. Gorgeous music on there.
Yeah, he's a brilliant songwriter. He's one of my favorite songwriters too.
He really is. And the thing is he's got that hidden, gusto of being a Finn So they're already pretty poetic as it is. So he already had it made.
Yeah. So what's his last album that you remember when his last album came out, whether it's solo or him?
The last one that I can remember for him was Venus Doom. I don't know if that's their last one, but Venus Doom was one of the last ones that I really remember getting into.
Okay.
And that had some really great songs on it. A good one from that one was Heart Killer. It was a really kind of an upbeat song. Kind of reminds you of like 80s rock. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. And they got the heartogram. They invented that symbol. I remember
the heartogram is just iconic. You can't see that and not go him.
Yeah, it's a brilliant design. It was like, okay, like I wish I would have thought of it. Damn it!
Yeah, I know. There are probably millions of people like, really?
Yeah. Now, what about as far as like, do you have like a CD collection, record collection, or how do you actually listen to your music or get your music? Do you mostly just
I have a small amount of vinyl. We have a vinyl shop here in town ran by a really nice lady. It's mainly like just older stuff, like refurbished everything. So if you dig around, you'll find some nuggets in there. But I've got a decent collection of Blue Oyster Cult just because I love their album art. Now some of the records that I've gotten from there, they don't work. It's just time has done some horrible things to them. But I collect Stevie Nicks, obviously Fleetwood Mac, the Blue Oyster Cult collection I have. I have a lot of like classic rock bands like Steppenwolf and stuff like that. And some of them have not even been opened. I have the vinyl White Album from the Rolling Stones, not the Rolling Stones. It was the Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles with the White
Album. It was the Beatles, and then I have the Rolling Stone album, one of the first ones they did. It wasn't their first one, obviously. It's a copy of one of their first ones, and it's still in plastic and put up. But yeah, the White, and I'm not a Beatles fan, but I knew I needed to get that one since it was unopened, because that's going to be worth something.
Yeah, and that's a good record. I think I'm not a huge Beatles fan, but when I think of the Beatles, I like the White Album the best because
I think it's everyone when you think of the Beatles, it is the White Album.
Because it's when they started getting more experimental. They're a little bit dark on that album, so I like that album.
They're not really one of the bands I jump right into. I Want to Hold Your Hand. I would rather cut it off.
Yeah, exactly. Although we used to cover that song for some weird reason. We'd cover the Beatles, and then we'd go into like Slayer, and then we'd go into Poison, and then we'd go like we're just all over the place.
Well, you can do a lot with them. Like their songs are pretty easy to follow, especially the earlier stuff. So you can do a lot with it. So I don't see why not.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What about when you were in high school? So what was popular in high school? What were you into? Like, let's say you're 15 years old. What were you listening to?
At 15 years old, I was probably listening to bands that people that I went to high school with didn't even hear of. I was listening to Dimmu Borgir. I was listening to Slayer. I was listening to I actually listened to a lot of Dio back in high school, just because we had the classic rock stations, and that's really all that would come in. It was either that or Honky Tonk Hour, and I'm always going to pick the latter. But so it classic rock, heavy metal, and then when I started really getting to black metal, that really caused some problems at home. Yeah, your pretty little daughter turns into this gothed out, corpse paint covered creature just kind of looming at you from the shadows.
Worshipping the devil.
You're going to get that a lot. But the thing is I look pretty brutal in corpse paint, but when people talk to me, they're like, you are really bubbly.
Go, hey, I'm black metal. Yeah,
exactly. If Barbie was into black metal, that would be me. That's me.
Yeah. Pink metal. Yeah. Are you an Ozzy fan? You got some Ozzy is in the news this week. Big news, which I expected. The Power Trip Festival. Are you familiar with the Power Trip Festival? It's supposed to go on in California.
Yes, and October. I saw that he had to cancel.
Yeah, to cancel out, which I kind of, we all kind of suspected because the two main bands that everyone is buying tickets for is for Ozzy and AC/DC, because these are the two bands that, just like AC/DC hasn't been on tour since before COVID, right before COVID, and then Ozzy, so it's hit or miss because of his health and stuff. But then it's like, they go and promote it, and everyone's buying tickets, and the tickets at this Power Trip is crazy. I think the cheapest tickets are like $600 for like general admission, which means you're stuck way out in the freaking boondocks, and you're gonna pay $600 for that. So yeah.
I when I saw that, because I get a lot of news in my Google feed and stuff, and I read that article, and I couldn't believe that they, like you said, they went through all that trouble promoting it, and didn't, he backs out. But again, I can't take that out on him fully, because his health is not the way it was before. He's getting older, things are hitting him harder, and it's really difficult for me to be kind of shit on him for it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Ozzy, he just wants to be on stage again, and it's got to drive, and it drives me nuts thinking about how much it's driving him nuts that he can't just get up there and do what he used to do. And that's why I think he was so happy to be able to do it. But I think he just realized that, and I think a lot of people, he's probably hearing a lot of people talking, especially Eddie Trunk, I listen to him daily, and he made some good points that it would suck if Ozzy had to go up there and sit in a chair and lip sync, because that would just ruin his legacy. Because in my mind, Ozzy doesn't owe us anything. He gave us the best music of anything, and with Black Sabbath and solo stuff. The dude should just like kick back and relax. But I get it, man. It's like he sees people on stage, and he's 74 or 75. He probably still feels like he's 25 or 30. But
he's an excellent performer. That's why people love Ozzy Osbourne, because no matter what he was up to or what he was doing, he did the damn thing. And that's what he's known for, is being an excellent performer, an excellent vocalist. And everyone my age, when they thought of heavy metal, you thought Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah,
he was your first one. There was hands down. It was always Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like when it came into like the actual real metal. That was probably the first time I really Diver Madman was I bought that record just from the cover art alone, and then listening to it over and over. But my first concert was even Ozzy Osbourne in '84, and seeing Jakey Lee as a guitar player.
I could only dream to see him in concert. The first album I ever really listened to from Ozzy Osbourne himself was the Blizzard album.
Yeah, that's a badass album too, and unfortunately, that's the only time I ever did get to see Ozzy. I was hoping to see him, back in 2010, or maybe it was not 2010, but it was maybe 2016. That was right before he had to cancel all those tours, and I had tickets and everything, but I got a refund. But yeah, I only saw him one time in '84, but that one time changed my life, because if I wouldn't have seen him in concert, I wouldn't want to play guitar. So, I went home to my grandma. Grandma, buy me a guitar. I need to be like that guy, Jakey Lee. She's okay, son.
Right.
Grandson. Yeah.
Sorry about that. My kids ran in, and I guess they were fighting outside.
That's all right. They're part of the show. I hear you got birds too, huh?
Yeah, I had them covered, but they don't care.
Yeah. They don't care. They want the action too.
Yeah, they could hear me talking, and that's when they're like,
Yeah. Oh shoot! You know what? We gotta call in. I think this is a viewer that's calling in. I put it out there, but you can call in during the show. Let's see who it is. Hello, who is this?
iTunes.
Huh? Hello.
Hello, Eric.
Who's this?
This is Nambu.
Nambu.
Yeah, from Facebook.
No, not.
Yeah. Give me the iTunes. When are you gonna send the iTunes?
What? Oh, you're just a spam bot, dude. I thought I blocked your ass. Damn, man. All right, they won't even fuck. They're hounding me here. Spam bots. You ever get those?
I've never got a spam bot, because I don't answer things that I don't know, and I make sure that I don't have that stuff going on. That way, because I would just be miserable if that was the case. I cannot believe that just happened.
Their main thing is like, they'll friend you, and it's like, it's a spam bot when the message is like, hello. And it's like, where are you from? So I've been like, lately I've been saying, if they say, where are you from? I say, well, I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. And then they just block me. I think they either think I'm onto them, or that I'm close by and I'm going to bust them or something. But I'm always curious, because
he's one of us. Oh no.
Yeah. What I'm curious, you being a female, and an attractive female, like, do you get these spam bots do you get guys pretending to be like whatever? Because we get the women that they pretend to be like these hot women.
Not particularly. About the worst I get is some weird dude telling me how beautiful I am and how he wants to take care of me, and I'm just like,
yeah.
Not interested, pal.
Yeah,
not even.
my one friend, she's like, all I get is dick pics. It's like, so, yeah, I can imagine.
I don't get. Thankfully, I don't get a lot of that. I just get a lot of probably lonely dudes that see me and they're like, "You seem real nice. I'm going to be really creepy right now." And then I'm like,
"Hey, baby, send me your Amazon wish list. I'll take care of you."
If only. Now, if that actually would happen and someone would do that, I'd be more than happy to send you someone else's nudes.
Yeah, right. Have at it, motherfucker.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Top 5 black metal. Should we start with the top 5 black metal? I know we got you got your list. I got my list. We could what we do is like I'll read my number 5, and then you'll read your number 5, and we'll discuss a little bit. We'll show a little video clip of. I think I loaded up pretty much all of them. There might have been a couple I missed on yours as far as video clips because I couldn't find them. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna definitely because like I said, 2023, and I do this because not only do I do it because I want to see what my list is gonna be like at the end of the year to 2020, which I totally would want to invite you back on for that. We're talking like late December if you're down with that. It's also to raise awareness because there's a lot of people that think like, "Oh, what new music? What or there's this like metal or rock is dead," and it's like, no, you just got to get out there and it's just not on the radio like it used to be.
Exactly. It's a demographic that doesn't get catered to like your pop rocks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, metal is not dead by far. It's probably one of the most one of the biggest genres that keeps growing and keeps getting more interesting, and you're missing out if you're not even looking.
Yeah, and it just never dies, and it's like it's a matter of like because I think back in the day you had more of like record labels and radio stations telling you what you need to listen to, whereas now it's like you got to get out there and you can find it, and you can find bands that are like not famous or signed to big major labels, and you could love them just as much as you find a band that is famous and is like
I've recently found that out just by playing around on Facebook. I find really interesting bands all the time, and like I said earlier, one of them was October Noir, and now a few people kind of hit me in the forehead. It's like, how did you not know them?
Yeah,
because I just didn't.
I think I saw one of your posts with them on it. I think I heard some. Yeah, they did, and I remember they did sound a lot like whatchamacallit, Peter Steele's band. Why is it their name?
Yeah, Typo. If you enjoy Typo, you would absolutely love October Noir.
Yeah. And you represent another. Don't you represent bands like obviously Darling Dead? We mentioned, and who was the other one?
Yes, I'm actually the band ambassador for Darling Dead. And their lead vocalist Brandy actually gave me that one, and I was so proud to have that. Because the guys are just genuinely talented. They're very fun to talk with. So I have no problem spreading their stuff around.
Oh yeah, and there was the other band, Kill Sisters. Is there
Sister Kill Cycle? Yeah, I'm their official online promotions manager.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah. Is that something you want to do in the future, as far as grow, like say, be like maybe a manager of a band? Have you ever thought about doing that or anything?
Well, we'll see. For now, I'm happy exactly where I am.
Yeah.
All I really care about is getting the music out there, and I don't mind being in the shadows at all. In fact, I prefer that. But maybe in time, maybe if I can get things right, maybe that could be a career path. But right now, I'm a little more comfortable just being a little face on the interweb, going, "Hey, check this out."
Yeah. Kind of like me. Like I'm more like, hey, I'm just gonna do what I do, and wherever it takes me is where I need to be. Like, just let it take you where you need to be. Like, instead of trying to chase something or trying to chase something down. And
I'm at the point now where I don't chase nothing.
Yeah, same here. Used to be back in the day, like, we got to get on stage, we got to book these shows, we got to go for that record deal, got to chase. And now I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do what I do, and if it comes, it comes. Like it'll find me.
There's no point in getting bent out of shape for maybes.
Exactly. Yeah. Just enjoy what you do, and just it's a very fun hobby in a sense.
Well, I basically got in with all of these people just by being nice, and then I think that's a concept a lot of people miss. Is I was genuinely nice. Like I offered to do a little free stuff here and there, and I shared some things, and was just openly nice to these people. And you get a lot of rewards if you're just nice.
Just be nice, be kind. That's all it takes, man.
Yeah. And maybe don't be boring.
Yeah, don't be boring, man. Fuck boring
Yeah,
people,
don't make
man.
it all about you. Don't be boring.
Yeah.
Show genuine interest in what they're doing, and you'd be surprised how good people will be to you.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Preach it, mama.
Every day. I say it all the time. Just be a good person. It's not hard.
Yeah, I mean, it would solve world peace if everyone just woke up in the morning. Even like guys like Putin and Kim Jong-un, all these fucking maniacs, they just woke up and say, you know what, I'm not going to be a dick today. I'm not going to be a bitch today. I'm just going to be nice to people. That would be
exactly.
World peace right there.
It really is not a difficult concept, but for some people, it just
like it's just like embedded in their soul to fucking do evil.
That the thing, especially in the metal scene, black metal in particular, I think that a lot of people have that stereotype about them, that they're these terrible, scary, mean-spirited, unfriendly people. No offense, but you're an idiot if you think that. Some of these guys, well, I mean, Corpse Grinder from...
Yeah, I know, right? From the Cannibal Corpse, yeah.
Cannibal Corpse, yeah. It was kind of... I've got kids running in the background, and I'm like, just stop. But, yeah, he's one of the nicest people. He does a lot of things for charity.
Yeah, I always see him doing those like little stuffed animal booths or whatever, like where you win the stuffed animal. He's always posing with them.
Yeah, he does things for kids. He's always nice. It's and then you get those people say, well, they're Satanists and they're mean and they're bad. I don't know, but I've seen other like metal bands and stuff doing like super nice things and just being nice and being friendly. And it's like, are you blind?
Yeah, usually it's the people who pretend to be all nice and all Christian-like or whatever. They're usually the ones that are doing the bad shit, It's like
me and them people don't get along because we've got some of those here in town, and those are the ones that I always see walking around, and I'm just like, say something.
with their judgy eyes and everything.
Oh yeah, well, it's not uncommon for me to walk around with my face painted up or to go glam goth out somewhere, and you always get those people going.
Yeah.
They're mad because they can't.
Yeah, exactly. So top 5 black metal. Black metal, man. What is black metal to you? What does that music mean to you?
It's like that slow burn Norwegian black metal, heavy bass, that slow intro, and then you hear that. Ooh.
Yep.
It's heaven.
Hell yeah. Okay. You got a good gutter roll there. I think you might have a future in black metal.
Don't curse people, man.
Yeah. I think I asked you once, hey, can you sing? I need a female singer on some of my songs. You're like, nope.
I think if I did sing, people would be like, we would pay her to stop.
Yeah, great. That's usually the best. That's the best voice right there.
Be the best way to make money. Just let me screech at the microphone for a while.
Yeah. So number 5 for you, what is okay? You've listened to some of the new releases that are out. You got your favorites. What is number 5 for you as far as on your list?
My number 5 was Hell Ripper, and I listened to the entire album. So I don't have one particular song I love, but this is a band that I've never heard of before, and I absolutely love them.
Yeah, Hell Ripper. Fuck yeah! I mean that. I mean, I'm not gonna say where it's at, but I think we're in tune with that one as far as being on the list.
Yeah, that was my number 5 easily, because I got the list, and the first thing I did was jump right into listening to all this. That was the most intense set of dishes I ever washed in my life.
Yeah, and what I love about Hell Ripper is like the reason what drew me to it was that, for one, that album cover. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I got it somewhere. Yeah. Where's that album cover at? Can't find it. Anyway, it's right here. Yeah, it's just like just took me back to like the 80s metal, the 80s speed metal, death metal, when that stuff was just, in 85, 86, when Bathory was on the scene, Celtic Frost and all those bands. And then when I heard the music, it was like, oh yeah, Bathory's like I consider Korthon is like the godfather of.
They're like top 20 of the most popular, well-known metal bands.
Yeah,
they're incredible.
Yeah. One of the things and I always love saying is I got to pay tribute to Korthon, when he passed away. Like my band Will-O-Wisp, we got to be on a tribute album that his girlfriend put together. They only released like 1,000 vinyls or something like that, and it's called The Hordes of Bathory. I forgot it's like a really long title, but But yeah, we got to do a Bathory song, and it was just like just be able to do that because like, one of our first covers as a band, like when we were first starting out, we did "Raise the Dead." It was just like
that is a great song.
Yeah, raise it down and do it. I love that riff, and yeah. So Hell Ripper reminds me of that era, and just a really great. And when I just got into them this year too. Like I just discovered them just from the album cover, but I was surprised to hear it was just one guy that does everything. It's like I've been noticing that a lot in a lot of those new black metal bands. It's usually just one guy doing everything, like the bass.
Yeah, I've never heard of that until recently, and then you realize how many solo artists they are doing it all. And I'm like, how?
Yeah, and I did it. And I do it myself. Like with the Death Cryptopia, I do everything. Like we have the song Death, and I thought I was going to be like, oh, maybe I'm original because I'm just the only one doing everything except for the drums. Because the drums are programmed. But then I'm coming to find like all these guys are doing that shit. I guess it's kind of cool because you don't have to deal with a bunch of personalities and shit. Like like back when I was in a band,
or everybody else's trash they break in. Yeah, it'd probably make it a lot easier.
Let's show a little clip here of Hell Ripper so people can out there. If you haven't heard Hell Ripper, get out there and get some Hell Ripper. I mean, that kid, he probably went through his parents' fucking records and said, man, I got to hear that fucking classic old shit, man. He looks young. He looks like he could be like 20 years old or something like that, so.
I have noticed that a lot of these, like you hear the music first, and then you go and look these people up, you're like, huh, you? Okay, then.
Yeah, like, damn. I always think that's good parenting, too. Like, if the parents got them into the music,
Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing, especially when they list like their dad or their uncle as like the inspiration behind their music, and you're just like that. That guy's like,
yeah. I try to get my stepdaughter in the metal, and she's like, all rap and hip hop and stuff. But now she's starting to get into some of it, so I'm like kind of happy about that. Like
it is an acquired taste, so yeah, I can understand if you've never heard black metal in your life, it is a shock.
Yeah, it is. It's just like it's in your face. It's satanic sounding, and even though it's like a lot of the bands ain't even like really satanic, but it's just the imagery. Like when people say, "Oh, this too dark," or this is, it's like no, it's basically it's an expression. It's art, and you can like I can like Christian metal bands. Like I love Stryper. I'm a big Stryper fan. I've always been a Stryper fan since the '80s and stuff. And I can listen to Stryper and have Michael Sweet preaching Jesus to me and. I mean, sometimes it sounds like he's making love to Jesus. He loves him so much in his lyrics, and it's like, but then I could put on like, freaking like something like Hell Ripper, or something from Ostagram, very satanic stuff, and just enjoy that.
I would say if you want to get into some of the most satanic black metal bands, I think obviously Mayhem is one you need to hit first.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mayhem, like they're the classic. We even opened up for them one time, and
I love Mayhem.
Yeah. I was thinking when we opened for, I was thinking, are we going to get stabbed? Because freaking Euronymous got stabbed, but yeah, Mayhem's like Mayhem took me a while. I always liked them, but it took me a while to get into them musically because I always felt like their earlier stuff was very jumbled sounding. And me, I'm always somebody who's got to have that a little bit more structure in the songs. But then I hear it now, I'm like, no, this shit's badass, and I love even their later stuff. But
I would go ahead and put a warning on that. If Mayhem is your first introduction to black metal, just be prepared.
Be prepared. So my number 5.
Be prepared.
Yeah, my number 5 in black metal, and this is a new album that just came out not too long ago, and it was actually supposed to be higher on my list, but I kept discovering this other stuff that just kept knocking it down and down. But it's Black Braid 2. Now I love Black Braid. I love their first album. I like this album. It's pretty much kind of sounds like the first album a lot. I'm not sure why I put it at number 5, but I guess you'll kind of know when I read my other ones. But yeah, so I have Black Braid at number 5. You like Black Braid? Have you heard them?
I absolutely do love them. I heard about them earlier last year. Later last year. It came across in my suggested And for one, I'm Native. I'm half Lakota.
Yeah.
So that's something I've never seen a lot of is, American indigenous metal. So when that came up, the first thing I did was throw it on, and I was happily surprised.
Yeah. And that's another band that I thought it was like a full band, but I find it's just this one guy, and I guess he gets a band when he plays live or whatever. But what other shocked me about Black Braid is that they formed in 2022. So I'm like, this guy, he just formed his band and just last year. This guy pissed a lot of bands off that's sitting there struggling and fucking eating ramen for years and shit. Working at McDonald's and stuff. And it's like, here's this guy comes along and he's got 2 albums out, he's signed or whatever. And it's like, but yeah, he's doing something
because
right.
there was no notch for him to be Native American and to be into black metal. That is a rarity.
Yeah.
So he hit it out the park when he brought that out, and because it's something people have been looking for, and he delivered.
Yeah, he definitely delivered, and it's such a well produced album. What I love a lot about it is I love a lot of the clean guitars. It sounds like he's using a lot of the kind of the native instruments, and definitely a lot of those chord progressions that the native music uses. My girlfriend, she's full native pretty much. She's on the Blood Reserve. She lives in Alberta, Canada, on the Blood Reserve, and she's on the reservation, like practically lives the res life, and it's, so I introduced her to that band, and she's really likes him as well. And but yeah,
well,
and that's he's good looking.
If you are native, a lot of it does resonate with you because these are stories we were told by our grandparents and our relatives and stuff. So to hear it in a black metal form just makes it even better.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good metal bands, even just regular metal. I'm thinking about maybe down the road, maybe one of the episodes I want to do native. I want to focus on native bands and maybe have a couple guests on that can introduce me to some bands that I haven't heard or anything like that, and that'd be kind of cool.
Oh, I bet we could have fun with that because I love definitely. Indigenous bands, and I've got a whole list already. So
okay, all right, then you're on the show on that one. Definitely.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Cradle of Filth's new album.
Yeah, that's the live album. That's a double.
It is. It's a live album, but
I can never say the title right. Double. Wait, Trouble in Their Double Lives. That's what it is.
Trouble in Their Double Lives. Yeah, I couldn't read mine.
Oh yeah.
But going into Cradle of Filth, now a lot of people say they're not real black metal. That's this, it's that. They're too mainstream. But love them or hate them, they're popular for a reason. They have some real staying power, and I've really not met a song nor an album from Cradle of Filth that I haven't absolutely loved.
Yeah. And that's another band we got to do a tribute on. We got to be on the Cover to Filth album, and we got so much heck about that from the label that we were on. Because we had a lot of kind of Cradle of Filth sound in our music, even though we were kind of more goth and stuff and metal. But the hardcore purist black metal fans of that record label just hated us. And they even issued death threats to us. They issued death threats to the label, and that's why we parted ways because they hated Cradle of Filth. They're like, like you said, they're too mainstream, or they're considered like the Guns N' Roses or Bon Jovi of black metal. And it's like, fuck you guys,
right?
Man.
But the people that talk so much crap, especially about Danny Filth himself, they probably have never actually listened to a song from Cradle of Filth because there's a reason why they're as popular as they are. And to be some little dude from Suffolk, England, and make it as far as he has, that says a lot.
And the thing about Danny, man, I mean, if you just read his lyrics, I mean, his lyrics alone can be a freaking like an epic movie or something. I mean, it's just so complex, and the stories that he comes up with. Every album has its own concept, and I mean, he's writing all this stuff, and he's pretty much I think he always goes to a lot of different band members. I think this is like the most solid lineup he's had in a long time. But he's the head honcho. He's the one that said you're going to play it this way, and you're going to play it that way, and I'm going to, I would imagine he's cracking that whip quite a bit in that band, and but he's doing something right,
Oh, definitely. I think one of my favorite albums from them, other than this new lineup being my new favorite songs from them because they're the most current. My favorite album of all time from Cradle of Filth was one of their newer ones, and it was Godspeed on the Devil's Thunder, because the whole album was about the life and death of Joan of Arc and all the stories in between, talking about Gilles de Rais, the mass murderer that cannibalized people. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Well, here's a clip of Cradle of Filth. This is She Is a Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my girlfriend, she's a big fanatic for Danny Filth, and I know she cheats on me every night in her dreams with Danny Filth. I had to call her, hey, stay out of my girlfriend's dreams, man. But that's okay.
At least she has good taste, because he is phenomenal. As a person, he's interesting. He's interesting to look at, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't crushing on him too.
Yeah, if I was a girl, I'd be crushing on him as well. You know, if I was
you could crush on a lot worse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's a good-looking man.
He is.
Yeah, that was your number 4. What, did I say my number 4? Yeah, my number 4 is a band. There's a lot of these bands that I'm getting into. Is not only am I getting into their album for the first time, but just listening to them for the first time this year. I came across, and like you know, just clicking around and you finding these new bands and stuff. And you look and you see that they've been around forever, and it's like, but I always think this, you know, if no matter how long a band's been around or a song that's been around, if like some people say, "Oh, that song's old, that's dated," it's like, no, well, it's new to me, so it's a new song, it's a new album for me. So,
yeah, exactly.
So Lamp of Murmur, if I'm saying it right, MURMUUR, Lamp of Murmur, and the album is called Saturnian Bloodstorm. It's like just such a brutal sounding album. I think there's only 6 songs on it, and I think this is another band where it might be just one guy. I haven't really got a chance to really delve too much into their history. It looks like it's a guy and a girl from when I was looking for some of their older albums. Lamp of Murmur. I don't know if I have a clip of them or not. Let's see. I thought I loaded one up, but what is the name of the song that they have? Oh yeah, this one right here. I was waiting for the vocals. I guess the vocals ain't gonna come in for like right into the song, but yeah, I love the rawness of it. It's got that. Yeah, I love like black metal that does have kind of the back production, but this very reverby kind of sound, and it just to me because I love the first Bathory album or the first 5 Bathory albums. I mean, that's what a lot of times I'm into a band that has good production, but for some reason Bathory and a lot of black metal bands, they get away with the bad production because you're hearing the energy that they're putting into it and the passion and the fire. That to me cuts through, and I don't even think that music would work good if you had it produced too well, like Cradle of Filth works perfect and produced the way it is because Cradle of Filth's music is very orchestral and is very put together, very perfect. So you need good production for that kind of music.
Yeah.
But someone like a Murmur or Bathory, no, you want that shit raw and freaking nasty. Raw and
Bathory
nasty.
for one. Bathory when they do their live shows, and I've watched some of the live shows. I've never been, obviously, but even live, they sound exactly how you would think they would. Like there's no no, it's not good, because a lot of really amazing black metal bands sound like crap live.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like, what's your number 3?
My number 3 was Nixorum and the Tongue of Thorns. That is the coolest album name.
Yeah, you know what? I bought that record on vinyl, and I don't know why it did. It's gonna make my top 10 probably at the end of the year. It just didn't make my top 5. But I didn't, and that's only because I didn't really get a chance to delve into it as much as I would like to. It's one of those, I bought it a couple of weeks because the album cover. I mean, shit.
Yeah. I had never heard of them, so when I first listened to them, at first I wasn't quite sure, but the more I listened to it, it really did wear on me, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I like this.
Yeah. I wish I would have pulled up a album cover picture, but I think I missed it somehow. Yeah. I mean, cool name, and they're another band I think has been around for a while, but I just discovered them this year, so it's like, you know. People are probably like, all these black metal purists are probably like, yeah, you guys are amateurs, man. Get out there and fuck it, you know.
Yeah, but they're also not talking about music with people that have probably never even heard of Black Album in their lives. So I mean, you do you, sis, and just leave us alone.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, and plus, I mean, like I said, we're turning people onto it. If I could get turned onto it, you can get turned onto it, and the audience can get turned onto it. That's a good.
Oh, definitely, and that's the kind of the beauty of it, because you know, I think a lot of people secretly want to be in the black metal scene, because it's a cool place. It's a cool place to be, and then you find out you like it, and it's like even better.
Yep. So that was your number 3, right?
That was number 3.
My number 3 is Immortal. Oh, I got the final right here. Immortal.
The amazing Immortal.
Yeah, War Against All. It was so funny because like the last album just had the 2 guys, you know, because the Bath was in this, you know, it was always a Bath, and then I think the Milnes, if I say his name right, Dane Milnes or whatever, he's the only guy left. And this is now he's actually down to being a one man band because he did all the music on. And I'm thinking on the album before this, there was the 2 guys. And I always thought, it'd be cool if they brought a Bath back, but there must be some kind of bad blood, the reason why they won't reunite or something. I know that Bath is a bit of a maniac, though. So maybe, you know.
Depending on how long the bands go on, there's always going to be something that happens. It's really rare that you have bands that have been around for more than a couple decades that haven't had some bad blood in between them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
See if I got a clip of them we can play real quick. Let's see, Immortal. I thought I pulled one up. No. Oh yeah, right here. I love that the whole album's like that. It's not your typical like all the way through blast. It's a very good, nice riffy, like, you know, good production, you know, and he's singing black metal, but he's almost got a melody going there, you know, on some of his stuff. And
definitely. And that sets Immortal apart from a lot of the more commonly known, you know, black metal bands, because they're not known for that.
Yeah. Because sometimes a little bit too monotonous when it's just every song like blah, like all the way.
When they start running together, that's when you know you've heard enough. Then you got to jump to something else.
Yeah. Let's switch it up, guys and gals.
It's like I absolutely love Marduk. Now that one, a lot of people can be polarizing with. but I
Yeah,
like them. But if I listen to them too much, every song starts sounding the same, and I've got to jump off to like something completely different.
Yeah. I love Marduk as well. It's like I haven't heard them in a long time. I wonder if they're due for a new album.
I actually, while I was getting ready for this, I actually had them playing in the background while I was making sure my notes were clear.
Oh yeah, cool. Hell yeah, that's the music of inspiration right there. Yeah,
always.
Yeah. What's your number 2?
My number 2 was Mork, and that's because I'd never heard of them, and it was on your thing, and I was like,
Yeah. I'm new to Mork too, but I've seen their name around a lot past like a couple years or so. For one, I didn't even know it was a black metal band. I was like, is this what, like Mork and Mindy or some shit?
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, right?
Yeah, like this guy never seen. I guess he's probably a young dude. Probably never heard of the TV show, but maybe Mork means something. I gotta look it up. Maybe it does.
I actually used to watch the Mork and Mindy show. Like it comes on, it's in syndication. So I've been watching that for a while. My kids watch it, but when you don't think that name and think black metal.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's what I was wondering. It got me thinking. Like, I wonder if like I should look it up. Like, there's got to be a meaning for maybe because obviously they're from Norway or somewhere, wherever they're from. Maybe Mork means something in that. And like, who knows? Because I can't think of him like taking.
In my understanding, because I'm Scandinavian descent, but I don't know any word in Scandinavian, especially Norwegian, for Mork.
Yeah, me neither. It's like, let's see. Let's play a little clip of them. What I love about that is very melodic. It sounds like almost gothic, like goth music. Like I almost hear like
it was a beautiful song. That one in particular, I'm glad that was the video that got pulled up because that's not what I was expecting. I saw some of the album art and I saw the lineup and I was like, this is going to be that hardcore Norwegian Scandinavian black metal. And when he started singing, I was like, well, okay then.
Yeah. I pulled them up on I pre-ordered the record, or didn't pre-order, but I ordered the record. I probably should get it in the next few days or whatever. I always get all myself on Amazon or Bandcamp or something like that, or I go to a record store downtown, but they don't carry everything. They got a pretty nice black metal selection, but not everything. But, it's easy for me to sit home and go click, and then boom, I got it.
Yeah, for black metal, it's easier for me. Like Amazon has everything, or I just YouTube it, or like I'll like check websites and stuff because most websites anymore have links to their videos or anything like that. So it's really not too difficult to just get on and start typing along and find something.
Very true. Yeah. It's all the world is at your fingertips. I always say.
Just got to know how to use it.
Yeah, my number 2. Just got to know how to use it. Hell yeah. My number 2 is a band that I just also discovered this year. One of my friends turned me on to, my old drummer, Tony from Will-O-Wisp. He told me, you got to check out this band Cloak. He sends me like a link to one of their videos. And I was like, holy shit. So I definitely ordered their record. Cloak is the band. And the album is Black Flame Eternal. Oh, yeah. Just so we could tell people, I think Mork's album is called Dry Pet, right?
It's Dry Pet, yeah.
Dry Pet, yeah. So then Immortal. I said Immortal was War Against Us All. Cloak is Black Flame Eternal. Phenomenal record. It almost sounds similar to Mork a little bit. Like I've been noticing a little bit of a kind of a similarity between Iwata, which is another favorite black metal band of mine, and they're actually from Portland, Oregon. They got a new album coming out soon. But like where it's like real melodic. You know, you hear more kind of a goth type of influence. Like you can almost hear like The Cure on Speed or something, or,
Yeah.
or even some Depeche Mode type of melodies in there somewhere. And so I found Cloak to be very, very good. And they don't really have like the full on like corpse paint. The singer sometimes looks cool, sometimes kind of buggy looking, but just the music. Here's like a little clip of Cloak. I hear the symphonic stuff going on back there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Your birds are loving it. They're like, your birds are loving it.
I'm glad they can't hear it, because if they heard what was going on, they would absolutely be losing their minds.
Imagine a bird doing a guttural.
But maybe my bird Drogo probably could, because he gets real squawky.
Oh yeah, that's it. Okay, we're gonna form a black metal bird band, bird black metal. It's gonna be a new genre.
It's called Drogo.
Yeah, Drogo.
Drogo.
Yeah. So Cloak, that's number 2. Get out there and get this music, people. You're missing out if you ain't got it by now. Oh yeah, me and the Glam Reaper, man, we know what's up. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you get that name, the Glam Reaper?
That was actually given to me from a fan off my Mortician page, the Lady Mortician. Her name is Sam, and hi Sam. Hey. And she found a photo of a Grim Reaper wearing stiletto high heels, and it said the Glam Reaper over it. She goes, "This is you." And it stuck. And every time I would post like a selfie or something to my page, there she was, just being like, "And there's the Glam Reaper." And I'm like, you know what? I'm keeping it. It's cute. It works. I like it.
When I was doing your logo, I was trying to find a Reaper. I was thinking about doing that to the Reaper I put on there. Like I was thinking about maybe putting makeup on it or something, but I didn't. I was kind of rushing around in Photoshop, but I could probably do that later on. Like maybe make that Reaper look like a Glam Reaper.
Put some of them stick-on eyelashes everybody wears.
Yeah, put some stilettos on. And if you think about it, I was thinking about like, oh, the Glam Reaper, like, cause you got the Grim Reaper who meets people as they're about to die. You're maybe the Glam Reaper who's meeting people right before they're ready to just kind of give up on their looks, and you got the people like, I don't like to look good anymore, but here comes the Glam Reaper to meet you.
It's funny you say that, because a lot of friends that I've met either online or I've known for years, like they, as soon as I post a picture, usually they say the nicest things, and a lot of them have said that I've inspired them to try to experiment more with makeup or try a different look or something like that. That always makes you feel good. And then you get those some people that are like, well, you don't need all the makeup. I know I don't need it, but I'm gonna wear it.
Yeah, you do it really well, and I like how you do those cool little lines, like those little designs.
I think this is going to be my trademark from now on, because I don't want to cover my face up too much, because it makes it really difficult to really kind of focus on a face. So I figured the Glam Reaper, if you want to be more glam, so I figured I'd do like the more smoky eyes and shimmer and like a nicely drawn lip, and then do just subtle eyes
design, which is cool because it's like a little trap. It's like your own. That's like you said, like your own brand in a sense, and your own look. And so
because anybody could throw on some like trad goth makeup or like throw on some full on like corpse paint, but that's really, I'm somewhere in between. I want to do it. I want to do both.
Yeah, trademark that shit. Like Gene Simmons, trademark that fucking makeup, so no one else can take it. You make money off that shit.
Get those stick-on masks for Halloween. You could be the Glam Reaper.
That's cool though, the Glam. And I think I googled it to see if anyone had that name. I think you're the only one. So. And if you aren't the only one, there's probably somebody out there with it, but check it out. Like it's whoever wears it best and whoever makes it a household name is what it wins the game.
Me and the other one are going to go toe to toe until I get rid of them completely.
Yes. Wipe them out.
There can only be one, like Highlander.
Yes. What's your number one? We're at the pivotal moment. Your number one is...
My number one was Black Parade.
Black Braid. Phew. Your number one was my number 5. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Well, what's this album mean to you? What did you like? What stood out the most about it? Probably.
Well, going into it, like I said, when you first hear that there's a Native American black metal band, I didn't really at first take it very seriously because I'm like, okay, well, whatever, you know, because you see a lot of it and it's straight up trash mostly. But this one, Black Parade in particular, it's well put together. The music is it's not only awesome to listen to because you could listen to a bunch of their music, like a bunch of the songs, and you're not going to get tired of it. Plus, it has the hidden stories and stuff from Native culture, which blends really well with black metal, and I never really thought about that. It's an excellent concept. It's one of a kind. So I think if you're going to check out any of these on the list, Black Parade, you have to. You've got to.
Yeah, they're making a lot of noise. I mean, like I said, they've only been around a year, or in a sense. Because I guess even if you look up on Wiki, it talks about it as native. The Andy, I can never say their name right, but it's the Andreonic Mountains or something.
The Adirondack.
Yeah, and I guess it's based out of New York in that area. Yeah, and the fact that it just started in 2022, and here he is already freaking making a lot of this noise, and so he's doing something right, and he's a good-looking guy, and I guess he's another one. If I was a chick, I'd bang the hell out of him.
He takes excellent photos for his covers and stuff, and just the publicity photos that I've seen. It's like I could only dream to take photos that well. Maybe one day me and him will be side by side. I've
even had friends who are like not even into like black metal. Like, oh, I like that guy. He's good. He's good looking.
And you're like, shut up.
Yeah, let's see how good looking this man is. Here's a clip of Black Braid. Spirit. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out, because I just discovered this when I was listening, I had the album coming out in the mail. I ordered off of their Bandcamp, and it's probably not going to get here till next week sometime. But so I downloaded them to my iTunes or whatever, and they do a Bathory cover. It's the last song. They do a One Fine Day to Die. I think it's off the Bloodfire Death album, and does it really well. But and that's on the Bathory version. Cordon sings very clean vocals. He's singing that same melody, but doing the black metal vocal, but actually capturing the melody, and it's just so cool. I was happy to see it. It's great seeing bands in this day and age that can pay tribute to guys like Bathory and Celtic Frost and those bands that pretty much paved the way for black metal. I mean, those guys were the first.
They walked so we could all run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I just wanted to point that out. Get out there and get that freaking record, man. Yeah, Black Parade.
Yeah, that's one you definitely want on your shelf. You definitely want that one.
Yeah. Now, my number one was your number 2. I think Mork was your number 2, right? So Mork
yes, it was.
Yeah, so Mork was my number 1. It was a very tough call between Mork and Cloak because they just, like I said, they both kind of sound similar. But I just had to, when I heard Mork's entire album on iTunes, I was like, I got to hear it again. I got to hear it again. It was just one of those every once in a while an album will come along where I want to hear it more than once within like the first couple of days. Sometimes I'll hear it once and put it away and listen to it again a week later. But I've already had my third listen. I remember when Ghost came out with Impera, like some reason. I mean, that album's like their most commercial, not even really a metal album, but it's just such a good record. I remember listening to that. That's probably the most I've ever listened to a new record for like a 2 months straight. I listened to it at least 2 times a day, every single day. I'm like, I've never done that with any record. It's like
Ghost is one of those bands where you don't think much of it till you listen to them, and you're like, I'm a fan.
yeah, yeah.
I think one of my favorite songs from them, and I think it might be pretty popular with everybody else, but Dance Macabre is just one of my favorites. It's just a great song, and I listen to it and I'm instantly happy. So
yeah, Tobias, man, he's a genius when it comes to songwriting, and because what he does, he takes, and I like to think I'm trying to do this with my songwriting as well, is that's how you capture a good catchy song, is you're taking a melody that's kind of familiar that you might have heard before, maybe from the 70s disco area or hard rock era, but you don't really can't pinpoint where it came from, but you're kind of borrowing that formula, and that's what he does with a lot of those songs like Dance Macabre and Spillways. When you hear Spillways, you're thinking
Square Hammer in particular, because he mixed some of that poppy 60s rock and roll and then mixed it with some more like metal sounds, and it just works so well. That's why Square Hammer got what metal song of the year.
Yeah, and there's still I think their biggest #1 song that they've ever, as far as selling a single, was, and that's one thing I've noticed when I first discovered Ghost. Didn't know what to think of them. It's like when people were saying they're metal, like, oh yeah, they're metal because of heavy guitars, but my first thing was I'm hearing 60s psychedelic in there. Like, I don't know if anyone else was picking that up, and then later on you find out that they have that storyline in their story. Is part of it is that they formed in 1969, and they had that song Mary's, what is that song? It's something, the Goat to Go-Go or whatever, and then Mary on the Cross, and and they got the 60s vibe going. So I thought that was kind of neat that I picked up on that as a first-time listener of Ghost back in those days, or back in 2015 or something when I first discovered them. Oh, I want to point out to people, just in case, because we're streaming these videos, and even though we're streaming just a couple minutes of it or whatever, when I upload to YouTube, there might be a chance that YouTube might say blocked or whatever, and I might have to edit it out. So if it looks weird that, hey, we're gonna check out a clip, and then you don't see the clip and you just see us talking about it, that's what happened. So people know ahead of time. But I would try to, before I show the full video and the whole thing, we get blocked and shit because of copyright shit, whatever. But no, we're gonna do it right this time. Okay, we got the black metal out of the way. So we're going to do my top 10 2023. I know you said you didn't really get a chance to get into fully as far as what came out this year, 2023. I mean, you're a busy mom. You're playing with the dead every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the dead. You ever heard that Alice Cooper song? I love that.
I actually love Alice Cooper. So yes, I have.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. That song, when you first told me you're a Mortician, that song popped in my head for some reason. When you first told me about it, it's like,
it fits.
Yeah.
In fact, we have the same makeup going on, so.
Yeah. I like yours better though.
Well, thanks. Don't tell him that though. He might get upset.
Right. He might try to sue you. Like, hey, that's my makeup design. Like, no.
You ain't gonna get much. I'll give you some of the dead people I work with.
Yeah. Let's see. So I did line up my videos. So my top 10, we'll go through these really quick, and I'll ask you what you think about them. If you've heard it already. If you haven't heard already, I'll play a little clip and then ask you what you think about it and all that good stuff. Yeah. My number 10 is Dio, Paul Gilbert's Dio album. Have you heard anything off of this yet?
I haven't heard anything from that one.
Yeah. So, and I would have put this a little bit higher, but because it's if I want to listen to Dio, I'm going to listen to a real Dio album. But I really love Paul Gilbert. You familiar with Paul Gilbert? He played with Mr. Big. He was in Racer X. He's one of those guitar god guys or whatever. Okay. Yeah, he was very big in like the days of Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Ingrid Malmsteen. He was one of those.
I love Steve Vai.
Yeah, like Steve Vai is one of my all-time favorites. He's like one of my influences. And I was never a big Paul Gilbert fan, but I love what he does with this. I mean, what he does. So he's re-recorded all of the Dio songs, like the classics, like Neon Nights from Black Sabbath, Kill the King from Rainbow, Stand Up and Shout from a Dio album, Last in Line, Heaven and Hell. But what he does is he plays Dio's vocal melody on the guitar, and it's like I'm thinking like this guy must have had to sit there and do take after take after take to get the actual inflections that Dio sings with. I mean, you would think it's Dio. Sometimes you think you're hearing Dio singing, but no, it's his guitar. So
it's guitar talking.
Yeah, it's basically guitar talking. So I pull up a clip of Holy Diver. This is Paul Gilbert's version, and I wanted to hear what you think about it.
That was great. As soon as I heard the ooh, I was like,
you can almost hear Dio singing it. It's just like, and I was reading a little bit of the process he used. He used like a wah pedal and just would sit there and just, I guess he would do like a bunch of takes, and then the engineer would find the best one and mesh it together. But yeah, but that had to been to sit there in the studio and have to go over and over and over that vocal melody to get it right, to get it sound. It's like, it's almost like he was channeling Dio himself, and
you would almost have to. That's an incredible talent. Like that always used to blow my mind with like Satriani, Vai, Malmsteen. Like to hear someone just be like, I bet I can make my guitar do that, and then they do it. And you're like, how?
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm seeing little 10-year-olds on YouTube now doing that shit. I'm like, I'm there playing guitar.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah, and I'm like, I think I'll put my guitar down today. That little kid's blowing me away. So it's like,
maybe you'll pick up embalming.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, give Andrea a call.
Yeah, come on my way. I'll show you the ropes.
Yeah. My number 9. Have you heard of this band? It's an all-female metal band, Burning Witches.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, this is their new album, The Dark Tower. It was a surprise hit for me. The only thing I don't like about this album, it's not on the vinyl, on the CD. I guess they have covers of Wasp's "I Want to Be Somebody," and I just think they did a terrible job on that song. And they do Ozzy's "Shot in the Dark," which I think they do a little bit better. But I was very disappointed in their "I Want to Be Somebody." But they're a great band. I mean, they play that just classic metal, And Gary, if you're watching, I know you're a big Burning Witches fan. I'm doing this for you, man. I got him on the list. But
I would say this with bands like Burning Witches and a lot of the more female vocal black metal bands, they're not as recognized, and I think a lot of people would be shocked to know just how many women are in the black metal scene.
And they're coming up, like Crypta was one. Nervosa is one of my favorites, and they just put out a new song this year. I think they got a new album coming, but they didn't say when. But they're always going through different lineups and stuff. But like you said, they're not getting. I mean, I remember back in my day, back in the old days of the '80s, all we had was Lita Ford and
Lita Ford's a force of her own, but black metal, absolutely not.
But black metal, death metal, all the hard metal. But what I like about Burning Witches, they're doing it right. They capture that classic '80s metal sound, and they're waving the flag. So here's a little clip of Burning Witches. first thing I thought of when I heard that was like Rob Halford. She's got that almost like a female.
Yeah.
Rob Halford, you know.
That or like Dora Pesh.
Dora Pesh, yeah. I hear Dora Pesh, and there's definitely, yeah, she's another force to be reckoned with, Dora. I think she's got a new album coming out.
I absolutely, yeah. I follow her here on Facebook and stuff, and I loved her when she was in Warlock.
Oh yeah. That's when I pretty much first heard of her in Warlock, and
there's something special about her. Now, if anybody could just go from one genre to the other, I bet she could do excellent with black metal.
Yeah. She definitely. I love her in interviews. She's always so happy. Like, oh, yeah, that. She's very happy and smiling and laughing. And, you know,
yeah, I think me and her would be great in a room together. That would be interesting.
Oh, yeah. I should try to get her on the show because I've seen her do like interviews on some of the smaller type of channels and stuff. But, you know, I guess
never hurts to ask.
Yeah, I guess the worst they could say is no, right?
Yeah, I mean, boo-hoo. I get told no a lot.
Exactly. I was a telemarketer for 20 years, man. I learned that word no over and over and over and over. But hey, builds character. You learn how to take rejection, and you take it like a champ.
Yeah, it's not. You're not, especially when you're asking people as if they're really well known. I don't go into anything asking anyone without being prepared that they're just going to either ignore you right away or be like, "Fuck no, who are you?"
Yeah, right, exactly.
She's got to learn to go, I'm a big girl and I'm not going to cry, and then go about my day.
So what am I on number 8, right? Okay, so talking about female metal. Have you ever tapped into like the Japanese bands, like metal bands? There's quite a bit of Japanese female
not
metal bands.
As much as most of the others. I mean, one of the bigger Japanese bands I listened to definitely wouldn't be considered black metal, but that was Duran Gray, and that's been that was when I was really getting into the more goth metal scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now there's like this big scene, like since Baby Metal came out, all these like Japanese metal bands with female guitar players and stuff, and so this band Love Bites. I mean, these women they look like they're all elegant. They look like they're all like like they should be in a pop band or Destiny's Child or something, But the way they play, I mean, their musicianship and their music is just, the guitar player alone, her name is Miyako, and she's just like this virtuoso. She plays the piano. She's like got an album coming out soon where she's doing all these covers. She's doing an Yngwie song on piano, just her and a piano, and it's like Far Beyond the Sun, I think, off Yngwie's first album. I'm looking forward to that. She does Bark at the Moon. It's like by Ozzy. But Love Bites, I got into them recently, and they got such a huge fan base. I started doing these reaction videos on like Baby Metal and stuff, and then I started discovering bands like Love Bites. And my friend Paul, actually, who turned me on to Love Bites, he said, "Yeah, you got to check out this band." So I got their album. But then there's other bands like Broke from the Scream. I can always get their name wrong, but there's this phenomenal bands, and some of them are like, I'm not a really big metalcore fan. I haven't just heard any metalcore that I like, and I'm not saying metalcore is bad, but I've heard some Japanese metalcore bands, and they sound really cool. It's like and I've always been a fan of Japanese metal. Like back in the day, my old school stuff was Loudness, EZO. My favorite band is Dead End, which is their band is totally underrated from the 80s, and because I always felt they did something different. They were trying to be like American metal or American rock, but they had that little bit of a spice to them that just made it different. And that's what I was always liking about. Like, I don't even think they were aware that they were doing it a little bit different, but they just wanted to be the Scorpions. Or they wanted to sound like Judas Priest or Motley Crue or something, but they were doing something that I thought was a little bit better. Here's a clip of Love Bites, and you can check out their musicianship. like when they get into like real heavy and then they get that melodic. What'd you think about them?
I like that. I like that they weren't just totally screaming or being guttural the whole time. It was a happy little shock.
Yeah.
I could easily become a fan of that. That's no problem.
Yeah. Check out some of their. They look up Love Bites on YouTube. But not only that, check out some of their live stuff where the guitar players, they do these like amazing guitar solos, and it was like, damn man, those chicks fucking really know their shit. It's like, yeah. So my number, that was number 1. Let's see, I did 10, 9, 8. Number 7, another Japanese metal, but we just mentioned them a little bit ago, which was a surprise for me, is Baby Metal. I like Baby Metal, but I picked up this album on a chance. I was like, let me check them out. I haven't listened to them in a long time. I always thought every song is probably going to be like real heavy. Like how they do in their video. But then I put this album on, and it's kind of like that, but it's real melodic, and it just has like a lot of cool orchestral stuff, and they got a big fan base as well. When I did reaction, that's what blew up my channel mostly. When I started doing reaction videos of Baby Metal, next thing you know, I'm getting all these freaking views and likes, and their fan base is educating me on the band, and they know like what they eat for dinner, what they eat for breakfast, and it's like when so-and-so started, they know their whole entire life, and it's just like, wow, okay. So it got me into them a little bit more, and so let's check out a little bit of Baby Metal here. Very melodic, just very orchestral. I just love the production on that song.
It's just pretty. Like I was kind of like just listening to it, you get your little head just a bebopping around, and you're like, oh, all right. But I like it that like when she starts singing, then you hear the backgrounds come in, and it just sounds good. It works. So anybody that is trashing on Baby Metal, for one, maybe just listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They definitely know their shit. Yeah, I just love the melodies. I mean, wow.
It's lovely.
I'm a big thing about melodies. Like I even like songs that are like very disjointed sounding, but then they bring in some kind of really cool melody. It's just like I soak that stuff up,
Right. Well, I mean, you get tired of the same old, which is why a lot of the more hardcore black metal and death metal and dark metal fans are going to places like Baby Metal and stuff, because it's something different. It's not the same thing over and over.
Exactly. Oh yeah, and that album's called The Other One. So Baby Metal's the other one, and then the Love Bites is called Judgment Day. That's their newest album. It looks like I got raccoon stripes because the window is peeking through the blind is the sunset. The sun is peeking through the blinds and onto my hair, so it looks cool. It looks like I got a cool little raccoon.
Like you got some nice, cool little highlights going on.
Yeah. Like it's what's in. That's what the kids are into these days. So this is my number. Let's see, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 6 is Night Demon, another band I just kind of got into recently. This album is called Outsider. See if I got a picture of it somewhere. Right here. This is what drew me to get it. It's like, wow, that's a fucking cool looking album cover. I like the colors. I've always liked that neon green type of color.
Yeah.
Is that what
that would work so well with like a Lovecraft kind of theme? That's cool.
I'm trying to picture the embalming fluid looking like. Is that what it looks like when you have embalming fluid?
There is a shade of green, and that's to counterbalance redness in bodies.
Okay.
But we can always get to that another time.
Yeah. You ever seen the reanimator?
I own the reanimator.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here's a little bit of Night Demon. So play a little. Surprised me because I thought the name Night Demon or whatever, I was expecting it to just be like just speed metal or something, but it's like more like just that like Alter Bridge kind of real catchy melodic metal. That's like, you know,
that reminded me of like Kill Switch and stuff like that. I really like that, so that's gonna be on my list. I like that.
Yeah, because the whole album is like, I guess it's a concept album too, which I haven't really delved into the storyline or whatever. It's like it's about UFO abductions or something, from based on the cover anyway. But yeah, it's a good album. It's like it's very melodic, and it's just got, you know, they're a band you would think they would be bigger, you know, like, you know, they would, you know, like on the radio and stuff. But yeah, totally surprised me because you don't hear the name Night Demon and associate with that kind of music.
No, you think Night Demon, you think. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm thinking like old school speed metal or something, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, speed metal's another thing. That'd be a fun video too.
Oh yeah. We have to do a speed metal episode.
Oh yeah.
My next one on the list, so that's Night Demon Outsider. Get out there and get that. That was number, I always use count, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 5 is, and a good friend of mine, Phil Lewis, we go way back, him and I, the lead singer of LA Guns, hoping to get him on the show. If you're watching this, Phil, I want you on the show whenever you get a chance. He's like, oh man, he's probably going to hit me up. You're damn right I am.
He's like, shh.
Here we go. Black Diamonds is their new album. Very different. The thing about LA Guns, every album
like that.
Different. Yeah, and they're kind of banded like every album. This album sounds totally different than the album before it. There's a really good ballad on here called Diamonds. It's really good. Yeah. We met Phil Lewis back in '97. Like we were looking for someone to record our first CD because we were paying for it ourselves, and we're looking into ads, finding like, you know, music engineers, home recording studios. We go knock on this guy's door, and it's Phil Lewis. And we're like, "Hey, you're from LA Guns." It's like he wasn't in the band. I guess it was at the time when LA Guns kind of broke up a little bit, and he's like, "Yeah, mates, come on in my house." It's like the English accent. So we spent a couple months at his house, recording our first album, and his roommate was Alex Kane, who was in a band called Life, Sex, Death, and he plays with Enough's Enough now, or one of those bands. He's been in a bunch of different bands, but. Yeah, and then we just connected on Facebook a couple of years ago and been friends on there. And he came out to Portland a couple of years ago and hung out on my birthday. And because his wife is an artist, and she's an amazing artist, and she was doing the comic convention. And so I met him over there, and we got to hang out for the day and shit. So, yeah, he's a really cool guy, man. Phil Lewis is. I have to drop that name in there somewhere.
I stepped on something on my foot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're moving along.
We've got a guest.
Is that the little one? Which one?
Yeah.
What's his name again?
This is Della. Say hi. This is Mommy's friend Eric.
Hi.
Oh, hey
We're
there.
talking about metal. You want to talk about metal?
Yeah.
You like metal? You
Yeah.
like metal? Metal's very brutal.
She loves it. You like Behemoth, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to
What you listen?
Dad's truck.
In
Yeah.
Mom's truck.
Yeah.
Nice.
Truck metal. Yeah, that's brutal.
I like that she calls it Dad's truck, and I'm like, it's Mom's truck.
Yeah.
It's because it's filthy, and like one day I said that they said, "Oh wow, your truck's filthy," and I was like, "I know." Well, it's because Dad used it.
Yeah. Cool. So we had the Glam Reaper and special. What's her name? Della.
This is Della.
Della. Pretty name. Yeah. Cool
Say
name.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Alrighty,
Pleasure.
you want to go
Pleasure.
with Drake it?
Pleasure to have
No.
Now my number 4 is you've heard of the 69 Eyes?
Oh yeah, I love the 69 Eyes. I follow them.
They're kind of in that world of him, you know. They kind of came
Okay,
around
go ahead.
when him was doing their thing, and you know, and
Mhm.
69 Eyes. I got into all those bands around that time, and there's something in the water in Sweden and Switzerland that those people could just write really good melodic music, and it's like.
Yeah,
feel like I need
I've
to
noticed
move
a
there.
lot with Finns, like music and stuff.
Finnish,
Hold on
yeah.
just a second. No,
There you go.
no, we're not going to do that. Okay, you need to go somewhere else right now because we're not going to do that. I'm doing some stuff right now. Go on. They're starting to fight.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's film it. Like, place your bets.
The little one's going to win. I will tell you that much.
Yeah. So number 4 is the 69 Eyes for me. The Death of Darkness is their new album. Have you heard anything off that yet?
I have, yes.
Yeah. So here's a little bit of clip for anyone who didn't.
To see you fall, it hurts to see you crawl.
Real, that's the Helsinki Vampires. It hurts.
Yeah, it is. The Finns just have a way with it. They do goth good.
Yeah, they were the perfect music for your job. I bet you put them on.
They really are. Them, Typo. Believe it or not, a lot of bands that people wouldn't think that would be goth, really,
Yeah.
I kind of click with. That's kind of why I fell in love with Depeche Mode, Sisters of Mercy.
Yeah.
But I also like Stacey Q and stuff like that too.
Yeah. Stacey Q's great. Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
my number 3, I believe I'm on number 3 is Hell Ripper, which was also on on your black metal list, right?
Yeah,
Ripper?
exactly.
Yeah, so I put that as like I was gonna put it in a black metal too, but I wanted to put room for one of the other because narrow it down to 5. I'm thinking, well, if they're on my regular metal list because they could be just really metal and they could be black metal, you know, because like I said, they have that old school sound. So, and we already saw a clip of them. So Hell Ripper, what's the name again? Warlocks Grim and Withered Hags. It was a cool
And
title.
Withered Hags, yeah.
Yeah, I love that title, man. Wonder who he's talking about. Withered Hags.
Probably an old ex.
Yeah, probably right. That's what they get. Oh, these are the wet blade withered hags around here. Old rocks. Yeah. And number 2 is okay. So I got my number 2 and my number 1s, and there was a struggle between because I'll just I'll let it speak for itself. Is number 2 is Metallica, the 72 seasons. Have you heard anything off this yet?
I have not heard any of Metallica's new stuff at all.
Yeah. What I'm shocked about is like because their last album was like it was all right when it first came out, and it was like, oh, everyone's all into it. Like I think it was called Hardwired or whatever. But then it just kind of sizzled out and it just became boring. But this album to me, it's like I'm still listening to, I'm still jamming it, and it's just such a well produced, especially the song that I'm about to play is the title track, which is like it's that opening riff. It's like that to me is the album. But there's so many good songs on it. It's a long album, you know, like the last album was. But at least to me, it sounds like they're actually putting time into this album. Like they didn't, like, to me, Hardwired sound like they just kind of rushed it. Oh, let's get a new album out, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And they just threw it together. But this actually sounds like they took some time. So here's a little bit of 72 Seasons. It takes so long to get the vocals in there, but yeah, I mean, what'd you think of that?
Sounds like they went back to their thrash roots, and I'm for it.
Yeah, like there's a lot of songs in there. It almost sounds like a Injustice for All type of sound. Like that's what. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't sound
Justice for All, and I want to say maybe a little bit of Kill 'Em All even.
Yeah, I hear a little bit of Kill 'Em All in there as well on that full album. It's like, yeah, get out there and get that. Yeah, and it's still going strong. Like I said, like the last album pooped out for me after about a month, but I'm still jamming that one. It's still like they did something right on it. So my number one band, we're moving along here pretty quickly. Have you heard of Catatonia?
Catatonia, no, but it sounds amazing.
Yeah, this band, I was into them like in the early, like I want to say early 2000s is when I first discovered them on some compilation, and I always liked them because they were metal, and they were kind of started out kind of death metal before, but he always had that low voice, you know, kind of like the 69 but they just always had really good melodies, and so I picked up this, and I haven't heard them in a long time. And all of a sudden I heard that they had a new album coming out, so then I was like, oh, let me take a chance on them. It's been a long time. They just didn't disappoint. This whole album is just so phenomenal lyrically, musically. This song is called Austerity, if I'm saying that right. The album is called Sky Void of Stars, and yeah, it's just a great album. I'm gonna play a little clip here.
I thought things would take off, but they cooled down. Your voice on the phone, I hear traffic behind. Violent rain, outside looking out, fragment of sky, looking to me, transmit and deceive. Kill off the fortune tellers. You say that woe is always on your mind. You drag me back in for a breath of comfort. No longer telling wrong from right. Ghost like horizon of your eye.
What'd you think of that? Mm.
That that kind of remind me of like some old school orgy stuff, like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
just
I
yeah,
could hear it in his
especially
voice.
with the synth in the back and everything. I like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. And I like it because it sounds like it's very melodic, but then they have those kind of cool time changes in the drum beat, and
Yeah,
like it kind of throws you off a little bit, and you're like, wow, but it stays melodic because sometimes the band could be like that. Sometimes I don't like a lot of prog rock because I feel like they're focused too much on time signatures and being all technical and
yeah.
intricate, and it kind of loses the song, the emotion of the song. Where to me, with that, it sounds like they're like, and the whole album is just good. I'm probably gonna jam it now on the way home. It's like, okay, I
That
gotta hear
actually
that
sounds.
album.
Yeah, I might download that. That was actually really nice.
Yeah,
Plus the cover art was really nice. I like that. That could be an
the cover.
excellent new background.
Yeah, the cover is really nice. Let me see if I have it on here somewhere. Let's see. Oh,
Yeah, that's lovely.
wait, that's not it actually. This one is it. Doom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one. That's the one
yeah,
you have.
yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's cool.
honorable mentions. Matter of fact, when I pulled this one, this is gonna be an honorable mention for my black metal. This band, I just discovered them. They're called Death of a King, and like they played them on that black metal channel on YouTube. I don't know if you're familiar with that channel on YouTube. It's called just Black Metal Promotions, and they're always like
Hmm.
streaming like underground black metal bands. But he was streaming this album, and it's like, but there's like nothing on these guys. I'm trying to look them up, like any kind of information. There's a Bandcamp for them, and it just says experimental black metal coming to your town. But and there's like a very faint picture of them, which I'm thinking this is the band, but that's the only thing I see of them. Like, so I have no information on this
Hmm.
death of a king, but their music is so badass sounding. It's like I should have pulled up a video or a song by them, but I didn't. Or did I? I thought I did. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. I guess I didn't. Damn, I thought I loaded up a video of them because yeah, the music was. Oh, here it is. Yeah. It's like very, very atmospheric, just but it's an album cover art which draws me into it. It's like just looking at the way that looks, It's like so I gotta get that album, I'm gonna probably buy
Yeah,
that
that's a
digital.
decent one. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And I was trying to get it because I guess they had it on a CD on their Bandcamp, but it looked like there was no way to click on it. So telling me it must have sold out or something. But I could buy their digital album, but I do it's iTunes. What about you? Any honorable mentions? Anything that stood out that you didn't make your list, but you still want to, maybe give it a shout out?
Just one in particular, but it's not from this year technically. It's from
Yeah,
2022, but that was
yeah. They
Behemoth's
dropped it.
single "Upon a Pale Horse."
Oh, okay, yeah. And they
Once
dropped
upon a
it.
pale horse.
Yeah, but they dropped it this year, so it's like so basically technically counts as the 2023 because it's a new single,
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's just an excellent song. I love Behemoth anyway. Obviously, the daughter does too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she likes them.
Yeah, I got their last album. They're like, I love them, but it's like for some reason when I put them on, like sometimes they just kind of disappear from me. But I love them because I love watching them live.
Yeah.
Nurgle's a genius at what he does. I mean, he's like, when you talk about Cradle Filth being too mainstream, but I mean, this guy is all over the place. He does like those American Idol type shows. Like he's like a judge. Like
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
like in Polish, I think it's like Polish Idol, and he's like a judge. You would never see a black metal dude on a judge show like that here in America. Like, it's like that's what's funny about over there. Like, yeah, even on like over there, their Grammys and stuff. You got bands like Dimmu Borgir winning Grammys. Over here it's Nicki Minaj.
Exactly. It's like you don't get enough of that here. I really think they should make that a thing. Like include everybody, not just the ones that people deem popular. Because the black metal scene is incredibly popular. It's just like I guess people just aren't cool enough to know it.
Yeah. But I guess it's where it should be. Again, I think what always made metal and rock good and cool is that it was always the underdog and it was always the villain.
Yeah.
Alice Cooper
it's
said
the bad guys' music.
Yeah. Alice Cooper even said it best. He said, "Rock is where it needs to be right now. We're the villain again. We're the music that scares the parents, and which is what you want.
Yeah.
You
gotta sneak it.
Yeah, you gotta sneak it into the back door and all that good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I think the only honorable mention I was going to mention was probably Tigers of Pantang. Their new album is really good. They're a band that's been around since the late 70s, maybe early 80s. Yeah, that's a good album. And also a surprise album that I freaking bought this year, which I never thought I'd ever buy a Winger album, man.
Really?
I don't know if
Well,
you
I mean,
remember
hey,
Yeah, you remember Winger? Yeah, I remember Winger from the 80s. Like, yeah, she's only 7. It's just like totally cheesy. But damn, this guy's brilliant. I mean, their music now is just really good. And from what I understand, I guess Kip Winger is like a composer. Like he actually won a
yeah.
Grammy for composing like a big orchestral, which I got to go check out. And so, yeah, so a lot of respect for him now. Like I just haven't listened to him over the years. I just always thought of him as like one of those cheesy, hair.
One
I
of
wouldn't say
those
hair.
bands that you're just like, oh,
Yeah, the ones that like I hate the term hair metal, but to me, I think that term was created for bands like early Winger, Trickster, and all those kind of bands. Like
Cinderella.
Cinderella and stuff like that. Whereas to me, like but then they try to lump Wasp and Twisted Sister in. But to me, those bands, we just called that metal back then.
That was just metal, but
yeah.
You're always going to find the argument there with people, and you just kind of have to go, all right, then that's cool.
Yeah, whatever your fancy.
Exactly.
This has been great. You got any plugs? I want to have you on again. Hey, I got a job for you. We're hiring.
Well, anytime you need someone interesting, just come my way. I'm getting a lot more comfortable being on camera, so it's not as bad as scary as I thought it was going to be. Still a lot less, the bodies are still a lot less scary, but I'm getting there.
I think we got a good chemistry too. In the audience, drop it in the comments. You think we work well together? You want to see more of the Glam Reaper? Hell yeah! Just give us a shout. Any plugs?
Yeah.
Anything you want to promote as far as I think you represent?
Well, I'd like to go ahead and plug a couple things. Darling Dead's going to be in California in October Friday the 13th, and they're going to be, I do believe it's Whiskey A Go Go, and it's kind of like a big deal for them, like a big homecoming. So if anybody can make it that way to Los Angeles, go see them. It'd be worth it. Also, Sister Kill Cycle is getting ready to drop another single. It's called Cancel Culture. Don't miss that.
Yeah, I
think
I heard a clip of that on your when you shared. I think you shared a clip of that, or wasn't there like there's something I listened to it. I never really listened to their music. I know they were on that show that you did with the
sound clip that you're hearing is actually from a song called Blood Pact. It's absolutely good. Go ahead and check that out if you're interested.
Yeah, I like
but
it.
Yeah, they're getting ready to drop another single. Also, October Noir is just finished an album, and it should be being released soon. Then they should have a music video out. If it isn't out now, it should be out soon too.
Maybe you should hit them up and see if they want to come on the metal block. We'll do a little interview.
I absolutely could. I don't think they'd pass it up either. I think they'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'd like to check out, turn me on to their music and stuff. I'm going to check them out.
It wouldn't take much. They're all very talented.
Yeah. I heard a little clip.
I can talk to everybody and see what we can do. It'd be fun to kind of get on with Johnny and with Brandy again.
Yeah.
And kind of just all of us be schmoes together.
Yeah. We'll definitely do them again. Have you on as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Also, I'd like to shout out my friend Rachel Catton. If I've actually got a lot of inspiration from her for doing the music promoting and stuff like that. So, and I think she deserves a special howdy.
Yeah, I just got to know Rachel. She's phenomenal. I feel like I've known her forever. Like, she's phenomenal. Huge Queen.
She's a doll of a girl. That girl works her ass off for all the stuff she does. Like people don't. I think she doesn't get enough credit for what she does.
Yeah. She's going places. Like that girl is.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I want to have her on the show. I hit her up the other night. I was like, because I want to do a music appreciation. I'm going to do the Dio one, which I'm hoping you could do that with me and Gary. That'll be like, I might actually make that the next episode, and then later on I want to do a music appreciation of Queensryche, and I thought of Rachel. I was like, she would be perfect.
She has to be. She is the one to go to for that, and she would kill it.
Yeah, so definitely have you and you and her on. It'd be cool. So yeah, we'll do some Queensryche music appreciation. Yeah, because it's a metal block. It's about metal, rock, and appreciating the music, and just getting people aware of like all the stuff that's out there, having fun with it.
It's not the scary monster you think it's going to be.
Exactly.
It's a Band-Aid. Rip it off. Get into it, because as soon as you do, you're going to love it.
Yeah, and it's therapeutic. Like I had a client one time.
It really is.
She wanted to kill her mom. I was like, you know what? She like listen to rap and hip hop. I was like, you know what? Listen to some Cannibal Corpse. And this will come. She's like, really? Are you serious? Cannibal Corpse is like, yeah, they're like singing about entrails and zombies and shit. Like
Total
shit, okay.
Zen.
So I sent her a song, and the next day she's like, "Oh my god, I felt so good after listening to it. Like I don't even know what it was, but I don't even feel like killing my mom anymore." It's
Yeah.
like, it's therapeutic.
It's black metal doesn't
Yeah.
get nearly the love it deserves.
Yeah.
But then again, I kind of hope it stays like that, so way people like me can actually enjoy it and doesn't become pop rocky
Yeah.
because I will get
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah, right. Well, people don't understand it. It's a good outlet because like, if you are feeling stress or angry or whatever, instead of putting it out there into the world, you listen to the music and listen to the art of it, and it's a good outlet. It's a good way to just channel all your
It's
emotions
the
into the music.
safest way to be a homicidal maniac.
Exactly, yeah. Because nobody gets hurt, man. Oh yeah, and that's the beauty of fiction. You can murder anybody you
Yes.
want, and nobody gets hurt.
Nobody gets hurt unless you go forth and do the crazy thing.
Exactly. That's why we need art to keep you from doing that.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Keep it where it belongs.
Exactly. And on that note, it's been great having you. We're gonna have you again, and this was a fun episode. This is actually my favorite episode we've done. I think we're on episode 7. Yeah. I love this shit. Hell yeah. So I want to see if I have any shout outs. Nah, everybody knows. I know how cool you guys are and all that good shit. What am I going to say? Oh, I shout out to my cat, Tamara. I
love that cat. Cute.
Yeah. She's my rock. And my girlfriend, Blue. I love you, Blue. And my daughter, Erin, she's doing better. She had a really bad accident a couple months back and almost lost her. She was almost dead there for a bit.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, she's making full recovery. Still got a little bit of a road to go, but she's doing it. She's a lot of people don't come back from what she went through. She's doing it.
No, but it says a lot about her, then, doesn't it?
Hell yeah. She's a trooper. All right, everyone. So be kind to each other, like we were talking about earlier. Just wake up and say, you know what? I'm not going to be a dick today. I'm not going to be a bitch. I'm just going to be kind to everyone. You got to be kind to yourself because if you're not good to yourself, you're no good to anyone else.
Nope.
On that note, we're going to say horns up and peace out. Hell yeah.